Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Having a Lovely Chat. This is a podcast that was in the works for a little while, and our very first guest is none other than the main man, Mr. Ciaran Clarke. Yay!
Thanks for having me on, Doug.
Right.
Legend.
Thanks for coming there, man.
Of course.
How are you getting on?
Oh, it's good, man. Yeah, just training away for this next fight coming up now in 5 weeks. So
Yeah, so that was the first thing I was going to ask you all about. So what's it's the PFL World Championships?
Yeah.
Are we all good? Lovely, we're good there. Yeah, so that is pretty big.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it's the biggest opportunity in my life, anyway.
Yeah.
And basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's I was with Bellator for 5 years, and
So you're not with them anymore?
no, they got acquired, they got bought.
Oh.
So by the PFL, so basically just bought all the fighters,
right.
and bought the promotion of it and stuff. So it was a bit of a kind of change and over phase for a while. A lot of us didn't know where we were over the Christmas and stuff. It's kind of a little bit of it in limbo. We didn't know where we were, but thankfully we got over the line anyway. And we're signed to PFL now for another 2 years, and we're a part of the World Championship tournament, and so it's a big deal. It was usually $1 million tournament if you win it.
Is it $1 million now?
It's not. It's 500 grand, which isn't too shabby, So look, it's the biggest opportunity for me. So you win that, it's a World Championship, and 3 fights to win it. Knockout. It's you win, you advance.
Right.
You fight 8 weeks later, 3 fights over the course of a couple of months. First fight in April.
Okay, so it's not all in the one thing.
No,
I thought it was right. Okay, yeah, sweet.
So it's April, June. Finals in August, so granted you win. So the first one now is in April in Florida.
In Florida.
So that's the next one. Yeah. So I'm
wow.
delighted. They got me wishes all in one. I always wanted to get abroad, and I always getting to London and Paris once, and then all the other ones with the 3 Arena. But I always wanted to get abroad and get to the States and stuff. I fought over there before amateur, and I just wanted to get over there because that's where it's at, really. So bigger opportunities, bigger exposure, and getting abroad.
I actually thought it was all in one, and I was like, Jesus, like how is that going to be? You know what I mean? Last man standing.
Yeah.
No, that's good that you have a bit of time to prepare. And so, do you know who you're fighting first?
I do. Yeah, I'm fighting a tough Russian lad first. I thought he was probably was the favourite, but when I looked at the bracket, then there's another Russian in, so I think he's the opposite side.
Okay,
he'd be the favourite. So the tough lads, I mean, they take the best 8 lads from each division, and everybody fights off against them, and then winner advances then. So it's a bit different. Normally they would have done it that you had 2 fights and kind of the best out of 2 fights kind of advanced into a last 4, but this one is just you win, you advance, you lose, you go home type thing. Just like any tournament, a World Cup or whatever. Anyone that know that type of style.
That's so how many fights is all there? 4.
3
fights.
3 fights. Okay. Yeah, so you win, you advance, and but like that, I fought amateur long enough doing tournaments and stuff, and that was every day. And I think my mistake then, I used to focus on the gold medal or the podium or the medal, and I was wasn't focusing on each fight. And actually the better I done at them, as the more I've done of them, the better I done was because when I done better, should I say, was when I just focused on each fight. And actually I took that mentality into it when I went professional. I wasn't thinking of being a world champion or this or that. I was just focusing on each man that they put in front of me to beat. And I'm telling thank God. Just one fight at a time, because I can only beat the man in front of me. I can't say where you want. I used to hate that. Like, you might ask that, where do you want to be in 5 years? Or where do you... I can't look past the next fella I'm going to beat.
No, but I get that, man, because that's all that's kind of real, and you know what I mean. So
it's realistic. I
suppose you can probably have a little bit of a vision, but like that's, what I mean. The reality is different.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and especially with fighting, like, I mean, and sport in general. I mean, you can do all the training in the world and the guts of 15 years, but it's 15 minutes. Yeah, and you could be off, or you could go in there an injury, illness, and that's it. Like, it's unforgiving. And unfortunately, you're only as good as your last fight, really. I'm 10 now, but I could lose me next 10. So and I think at amateur I realised that as well. Like, again, I'm undefeated professionally, but at amateur I'd many losses and many wins. But I mean,
what's the difference between, like, say, level wise of the amateur and the pro, like, in terms of fighters? Is there a massive difference?
Well, I'll put it this way, and Artem Lobov said it. He's a teammate of mine, and the Russian Hammer. He fought in the UFC, very well known, teammate of Connor's as well. And he said, your professional record goes in your gravestone.
Right.
And that's true, because, it doesn't matter how many licks or wins you have at amateur, you can be top dog, but as soon as you go professional, when it's, you know, that's you're making your money. You're making your bread. You're making your money there. So I think that's what matters really. And then the level wise, I mean, there is a step up, longer rounds, less protection. You're able to elbow. You know, basically going in there in a pair of trunks and 4 ounce gloves, and they're only to protect your hands and not to protect your other fly. You know what I mean? So it's fairly raw, like, you know what I mean. And that would be the amateur side of it. You know, amateurs more, you're kind of kitted out and, you know, rash guards, protected. There's no head guards and that, but the shin guards, bigger gloves, you know. So less crowds, less of a big deal, obviously, you know. So that'd be the big.
What
difference.
was it? Your first fight, like your first pro one, was it?
Was it
a big whoa?
Do you know what? It wasn't. It was like, because I'd seen my teammates and stuff fighting the tree arena and stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to be there. Like, that'd be brilliant, and I knew it was doable because of them. But my experience, my first pro fight, I had 300 plus coming up to me, you know, coming from the town here in Drogheda, and it was a big deal, obviously, going professional with Bellator, one of the biggest promotions in the world, and I was actually the feature prelim. So I was like, no way, this must be because I sold a couple of tickets and all the support they have, and little did I realise it was actually the swing bout. So if anyone doesn't know about that, the swing bout is after the televised card, you're put on where they can fit you in.
Okay.
So long story short, it was 8 hours in the arena, 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock that night. I didn't fight till 12 o'clock that night. It was the last fight. The cleaners were in sweeping the arena.
No way.
The next layer, about 250 plus, because about 50 people left down to the side of the ring. There I am at 12 o'clock at night fighting.
No way.
I had my pro debut, and I ended up, I got the third round submission anyway in the end. But to be honest, those 8 hours were just, you'd warm up. No, you're not on. No, you're on now. No, you're not. You're on. No. And it was mental torture. It was very, very tough. It was very, very tough. I didn't eat much because I was thinking I was on at a certain time, and we ended up getting locked in the tree arena. Right. I had to hop the big massive gates outside it. I had me Lauren with me, my girlfriend, my little sister and our 14-year-old, two of them only 14 at the time. The bus left me down to the after party in the earth. I was like, yeah. I'm up in Dublin at 1 o'clock in the morning, sitting there with two 14-year-olds and my girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, I had to ring a taxi.
You have to win in the fight.
I had to win the fight. Everyone's gone. On the bus has gone home, and there's me with my bag, weighing scales, everything for the whole week. And I had to get a taxi home, paid €100, and everybody's in the air partying without me. And but anyway, got the win. I didn't care. I know some story, So that was my first fight, professionally.
You rocking in the air, going, shit, cheers.
I was like, everyone's in buckled, and then me coming into the place. So I got there at 1:30, but it was a great night at the end. Yeah. That was my first one.
Wow, that's a good story for the
It is. Tree arena as well, and it was a mad one.
That's definitely one for the book when you're right. Deadly. And there was a couple of things just in my head. I'm not going to go too deep about it. But
of course,
do you know, I was telling my brother that was you were coming down for the first, and he actually wanted me to ask this. It's like, how do you, some people will go to the gym, say, right, they kind of chill out a little bit, but that's nearly your life. Or do you kind of, are you in like a zen moment with that? And is that your way of chilling, or do you do anything else to kind of, take your mind off?
Do you know what? It's very hard because it's my life. It has been my life for the last, go to 15 years, 14 years. So it's just a part of me. It's not like, it's just what I do, and I know it's my job, but it's just like, some people kind of...
It's all day, every day.
It's just twice a day, most days, 6 days a week. And if you're not, then you're probably talking about switching off. I find it very hard, like, I'm watching fights, I'm watching technique, and it's very hard. So
no Netflix and chill.
No, do you know what? I try, and it's actually because I try. Like, I remember my coach John Kavanagh said it before, and he noticed myself and my brother on the mat, and we might have been only stretching, or we were there probably on the mats. You could be there between training and everything for 3 hours, and he was saying, the longer you use it there, lads, it's like a candle burning. You just have to, as soon as the training's done or whatever, blow out the candle, go home,
rest, back at it.
And then because if that candle's burning all day long, it's only going to last so long. And I'm still in that phase where I'm still learning, believe it or not, I'm still kind of learning to take my mind off. I have little things, but like I have little things with my mates and that, like, and everyone's be like, oh, do you have any hobbies around? But not really. I'd get out during the day between the sessions with my dogs and stuff, out to the fields and kind of switch off like there. That kind of thing, just... I like going hiking with my mates and stuff, and but then again, that's all kind of exercise. It's all exercise nearly, and it's all kind of doing something, So
But not maybe burning yourself as such. Like it's more for your head.
Do you get me? It is more for me head, yeah. But then as well, when you need to rest, like say on a Sunday, you could go off and do a 6-hour hike, and like they're like, "Why you supposed to be resting today?" You know what I mean? So, I do find it hard. Like, you know what I mean? I try to. You know what I mean? I try. I obviously.
But now, especially, I'd say when you're training for this, for the championship, I'd say it's full tilt.
Oh no, it is definitely, yeah. And like that, it's you have to pick your moments as well. Like that, the last 2 training camps I had last year, I had a really tough year last year. Within a space of a year, I got shingles twice.
Oh,
and I was on antibiotics for the 2 fights, and like basically. Shingles is like it's stress on the body, and it's
you can get it if you have chicken pox or something.
You can get it. So, but it was basically in my case, it was just basically I was just running my body into the ground, and I was stressing a lot mentally and stuff. And I didn't realize that, but now in hindsight, looking back, I was actually I was fairly down on myself and like wasn't feeling good even, and. So, and that was nothing to do with like external things around that was happening. It was just from the training.
Yeah, just feeling too hard at it.
Just depleted, just wrecked.
Your body telling you chill, man.
Yeah. So that's kind of my battle at the minute, trying not to hammer too much, but then it's the fine line between putting the foot in the gas and so I mean, it's just trying to find that balance.
I'd say that is really hard to do.
Definitely. No, it really is. Yeah.
And what I don't know if you can give it away, but what kind of what is your typical kind of training now? Is it up in the morning early training?
It's don't be the team session every day is 11 in Dublin. So I go travel every day up and down to Dublin. So
it's still an SPG in Drogheda as well.
I do all my main training, sparring and stuff in the mornings in SPG HQ. So that's the main SPG in Dublin. It's an inch course. So I travel up and down there every day, an hour or 2 and from, and you're probably hour and a half session, 2 hours, whatever it is, and then you come home that early that day, sit down for the hour, get your lunch, and then I'm out with the dogs. I have 2 dogs, and then I get out in the van, out with the dogs, out to the field, step around with the dogs, get them out, and then I'm back home, getting ready, then straight away back into the gym again that night, whether it be in Integral doing my conditioning, it could be down with Ciaran Clarke, doing my boxing pad work, normally kind of get in with him in the mornings if I'm not in Dublin. It's kind of a mix and match. A bit of a gym rat, really. I'm between Integral, Paul's, coaching. Could be coaching up in Paul's, then do my stuff up there, and so it's just that's it really, 6 days a week, and then Sunday rest, then go to Mass in the morning, and then Sunday's rest for me, and might go out for the day with Lauren or something, go for a walk, a drive, but that's really it. 6 days, twice a day most days, just, and
in the zone.
Yeah, in the zone, just training, and to be honest, I love it. Like, as hard as it is some days, it's just like I said, it's a lifestyle for me. I'm doing it that long now. It's just that I enjoy it that much,
You're in the total routine of routines.
Yeah, that's it. And to be honest, not many people might know this, but there's probably people laughing at me that do know me. Look, if I'm in a routine by like a few minutes or 10 minutes or like that really destroys, that wrecks my head, man. Honestly,
just so see if I was late for you, army, man.
I know it is. I'm so regimental, and if it was like, if you give me a week advance or day 2, like when things are sprung on me, I can't deal with that. I can't, look, if you'd have said it to me last night, I'd been like, this, sorry, right? Like, if it's sprung on me too quick, the boy, it has to be like, I have to be, or even like I'd often be on the M50 and I'd look up in the maps, I'd see the traffic, and it's a half an hour late to the gym.
Oh, right,
I'm turning around. I'm turning around because I'm not going onto that mat late. What I mean? I can't be. I'm going home, and not that I'm not going and not doing a session. It's like I cannot be late. What I mean? I'm going home and I'm doing a session at home because I just can't stand being up there and being late. The way I couldn't. I just couldn't go on the mat, and I just I just couldn't do it.
That's a good thing though. That
I know it's kind of it's me demon in a way, what I mean, because I struggle with it, what I mean. It's like if I'm off by 10 minutes, or I'm just so regimental, what I mean. I'm all over the place, so that's kind of me little that's me little voice I have,
it's not a bad voice though.
There's
well worse things to be out in the world of being late.
Stop, well, you'd say that to the woman now. Then I was not on the table, I'm saying that. It's cat. But no, it's not the worst thing, I suppose.
No, that's good. So you can't be late. That's what we're gonna take out.
Not even like late, alright, and even if I was 10 minutes late here for you,
you're on the ball.
I'd be texting you and be like, like, I'm so sorry, and you'd be like, yeah, it's relax. But I'd be just, you know, because if it was me, you know, the boy. Yeah.
But should that be all you getting up in the training, and hey, you have to do it. And do you know what it is? It's like with time during the day as well. You have a time down to a T.
Oh, really do,
so
honestly.
See, it's of how it's going to get you from here to there, and where you want and where you're going to go next. Like I kind of have it here with the coffee shop. Say if you're doing the school run, I know you're going to do it from here to there, and it is. I understand a little bit. I'm not as strict as you know, but I do. No, get that
and look, I think everybody needs routine, and some people like might not, like, you know, it's not as if in a Sunday be kind of a free for all. I know I'm going to mass whatever time, whatever, but like, you know, I might go off and do something, and you know, whatever, that can be spontaneous. It doesn't bother me, you know, the way, but it's because I know I don't have that that day. It's my day off, you know, the way.
The day of rest.
And it is. That's what it is for a reason. So you know, those type of days. But no, during the week now, it's to the, you know, the way.
And I like the way you like go to mass. Have you always had that? Has that always been a part of your family with God and Catholic, I presume?
Yeah.
And
no, that's just the way it was rare. You know, I think I've done a few talks, you know, in churches and I was actually in Knock there recently, and
were you?
But no, I was in Knock, and they had me over doing a talk, and you know, Ben Scallon, he was on it as well, and one of the senators and everything. It was great, like, you know, it was brilliant. It was a good little thing. I probably should have promoted it more, but I was
to suss it out for
true enough, no, it was brilliant. Like, getting asked all these things and stuff, and you know, that's one of the things everybody always asks, because like a young person having that, you know, I suppose
dedicated belief.
That and
it's
you know,
it's not something you really see much of.
No,
like,
definitely not. No,
and hear about it anyway.
Maybe it's just because I've the platform I'm in, and what I do. Even, you know, it takes, you know, someone might look at it and say, oh, it's admirable or something, but I'd say, well, look, that's where I get the strength from. I get it from God, you know, the way. So then it's like, oh, what? Hold on, and again, it's probably just because of the position I'm in. But like that's probably one of the questions they ask, is like, where did you find it, or whatever. And I was just, I was rarely like that, you know, the way by me nanny, me mum, you know, it was rarely like that, so it was always in me. But again, obviously you have your own conversions and little, you know, dry spells, or, you know, that you go away from it, go away. But then actually it was only when I come back recently and stuff, and you know, everyone goes through their own little things, you know.
Absolutely. So it is. It's good. I think nearly it's going to be weird, because I kind of am in between. Like, I don't consider myself like a Catholic, but I believe in God, if you know what I mean.
I get you, and
I believe like there's definitely a spiritual energy, and more kind of
agnostic in a way.
Probably like a Buddhist in some kind of thing. If I had to label it, it'd be probably something like that. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it's funny that I do think actually more and more people are going back towards like finding something, because remember when we were kids, even, and you still do in the Sunday, but I remember going to mass on Sunday, but I'd be looking at my kids kind of going like, I don't actually bring them anywhere like that on a Sunday, and you're kind of nearly wanting to have some kind of thing to believe in, or
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely. For me, like, I had good times there, you know what I mean? Even though when you're a child, most of the times you're bored out of your head, but one thing kind of, my nanny had great faith, you know what I mean? She'd great, and what I mean by that is like, she'd be, you know, anything you want, like, you know, pray for Ciaran, or pray for those people, or, you know, she'd be great faith in that, and like, you know, so I always had that as well in me, you know, and like, even when I'd be in the church and stuff, like, you know, I never, like, it was serious, you know what I mean? You never took the mick around, you know the boy. Even though you might have been bored out your head, but you never took the mick around, you know, you took it serious, you know. And like that, as you said, like, you know, that Sunday thing, most people, you know, 40 years, 30, 40, 20 years ago, 10, you know, maybe 20, or like, you know, they did, it was that Sunday thing, everybody got together.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
getting together, like,
getting together, and that community, think about it, when you know, whatever way you want to look at it, like, and, you know, it's community aspect, you know, up the parish. Why did you say up the parish? You know, you're in Hairstown, up the parish. You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's that thing, I think, is being nearly lost a little bit, like, and it is basically just like, I've even had friends who've talked about it, and they go, do you know, like, there's nowhere to go. Say, like, as you said, all of us gathered up with the kids, and it used to be probably the focal point of going to church, then you might go somewhere after, but that's kind of seemed to be gone, and kind of nearly, they're all getting, I was like, kind of wouldn't mind something.
No, I get you.
But I don't know.
No, 100%.
Big room with the coffee box.
No, definitely. But there you go. Like, I mean, and it just goes to show the importance of it now, even. Obviously your faith in that, but even that aspect of it, you know, having just that community
Yeah.
feel to it, you know what I mean? Because obviously with what's going on in the world now, I mean, that's why people are coming back to their faith or
Yeah.
whatever, or
Yeah, I
even
think so.
realising the importance of community, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, sticking together.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much difference of opinion now. You
I
can't
know.
have an opinion,
Yeah, I know.
and
Social
you know,
media
it's like,
is just like,
yeah,
you
you know,
know.
so and as well, you can hide behind your screen, or
Yeah,
you know, do
yeah.
you get me? So, but yeah, look,
Keyboard warriors.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it definitely. And what was Knock like? Was it?
Knock was
I
brilliant,
know
yeah.
Ben Scanlon. I follow that grip. They
Yeah, no, Ben's on the ball. Like if anyone does follow grip, like I mean, you know, the report has to be reported.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I
do.
mean?
They kinda
you know,
go a little bit
it's not the RTE where it's just showing you what they want or whatever. But you know, Ben, he's great, like, you know, and he's Catholic himself, and yeah, like it was brilliant over there. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, like I mean, they asked me over. I did 1 or 2 talks for John Taff here in the town, who does great things. I think he was I think he was a counsellor here in the town for a long time for like people struggling with alcohol and like people coming out of court and stuff, and they go to John and he's a deacon here in the town and stuff. So he kind of got me to do a talk, and then I got great feedback from that. Even like I have a lot of my friends that were kind of like, you know, 1 or 2 of my mates that were going to it, and they were like, what's he to say here, and like, what's the story, like, and then like one of my other mates, Leaves Patrick, he followed me over to the Knock, and he's like going to these things, like, and like doing the 4-hour drive, you know, and then like there's other people, like I'd see like other people at them, and like, there's Yoke there, like, and like, you know, just
so maybe it is happening that little people are kind of,
you don't realise the effect you can have on someone, and maybe it's because I could be relatable or whatever. I don't know, but you know, it just goes to show, and that's what brought them in, you know, the boy.
No, that is pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah,
because I definitely do think it is something that people are definitely reverting back to.
100%.
And look, you're after like doing amazing, pretty much in what in your field, and then to have, say, God as well. So that probably even encourage you even more. It's going to help you having your faith plus then being successful. Do
you know what? For me, like, people might be like, I remember someone asked me once, what if 2 lads that have faith fight each other? And
which God's going to win?
Not that, but whoever wins, is one going to be does God favour him or whatever?
Oh, right.
I knew that's the way he was you know,
who was saying this?
Asking the question. One of the lads that done a documentary on me at the time, Jamie Sherry.
Yeah.
And he asked me that, and I thought, like, it wasn't a trick question at me. He just asked me, but like, people might think like it's because like I got a bit of success or whatever. But actually, to be honest with you, that it's actually, I'm actually believe it or not, all these 10 fights, I'm actually preparing for a loss, and I'll tell you why. Mentally,
right?
Because I have to realize that this isn't everything.
Yeah.
Even though it is to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when the loss does come, or if it does come, I'll be devastated. And I don't want to make that my God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't want to make that my God, and like, if my world, you know, falls down around me.
Yeah.
If I win this world championship and that's your God, well, what if you don't?
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Yeah.
So I'm preparing myself. You know, I never say, please God, give me the win. I say, please God, give me the strength to get through this fight, the training for me and my opponent to get there healthy and home. Again, it's like, what, you're doing MMA, you're fucking in there bashing each other. Yeah, but you know, and that's another thing, talking about art, we'll talk about that, but like, you know, that's the way I see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Again,
that's kind of keeping yourself
yeah,
grounded.
it is though, because it's like, you know, if I win or I lose, it's like, no, hold on here, you know, this isn't the all be end all, you know what I mean? I want one day to have a family, and you know, and but yeah, no, I'm not preparing myself, like, as well, I'm like, be humble in victory,
yeah,
and gracious in defeat, of course, but it's like, you know, I'm preparing myself. Look, if a loss comes,
if the loss comes, not the end of your
it's like,
world,
and to be honest, the reason why I try so hard now and to you know, connect with God so much in that is because I know when that comes, it's going to be devastating, or if it does, and you know, that's what I try to like hit home. A lot of people, this, like, you know, it's a sport at the end of the day, but again, I'd love to take my own advice, because that's what I'm saying. I'm preparing for that. If it does happen, that, no, hold on, Ciaran, here, you know, coffee box is open at 6 in the morning on Monday, regardless of your fight. But then on the other end of it, like, me, the ego, might say, oh, Ciaran, but like, this is everything to you.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm trying to like remind myself, no, this isn't.
That's a good.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? I know it's very hard to.
No, I do get what you're saying. It's
Do
like
you get me?
you're like preparing yourself for. It might not be the inevitable, but if it does happen, that it's not going to absolutely crush you.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
no, exactly, and to realize, no, this isn't. But again, to what got me here into having the success is giving your everything, and that's not. It's not to say don't give your all, because I have. I've given it all I have. But like I said, if it does, again, realizing, hold on, this isn't. This isn't why you're here, Ciaran. And again, I know I was born to do this, but it was for another way. Maybe it is to, if it kept me in the right road or what. But again, like that, I'm not God.
Yeah.
Do you get me? I'm not God. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
try to do, and remind myself, hold on, you're not.
Yeah.
And I think that.
It's a really,
You let go of a lot of things.
Yeah,
You try
yeah,
being and talking about my routine and stuff. I want to be constantly in control. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm practicing trying to not be in control of them things. But
That's
my God, a bit deep in that there. But
No,
what I'm trying to say.
So it's a
So
very good way to even approach like your everyday life with everything. Do you know what I mean? Because people do like everyone does. Everyone gets focused and fixated, but in reality, the world isn't going to end. Like I'm not going to say the name, but we were just talking about politics earlier on, and it's like everyone's losing their shit. Like, but like how you know what I mean? It's like relax, like as well. You still have to get up and do your life and everything. What's happening, the bigger thing, isn't really going to affect you that much. Like
I know.
It will, but it won't. And at the same time,
that's a mad one as well. Like, not to get into that, and we're starting with faith and politics here. But
we'll divert.
But no, it's like, even thinking about politics, because then it's like, people's like, but sure, what can I do about it?
Yeah.
Then you're like, you can't be like that either.
Know,
you can't have the blindfold on either.
Don't
So
have the blindfold on. But
I know
it's
what
like,
you're
don't
saying.
let it ruin your whole
See,
day.
this is it as well.
You know what
So
I mean? It's the same. It's the balance. isn't
Find
it?
the balance.
Find the balance of it. You know
Don't
what I
be,
mean? I
because that's
struggle with that as well. And then sometimes just put the phone down. It's like I can't ruin my day again.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we'll
definitely.
move away from politics.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the PFL, right? And so that is now Bellator. Oh no,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yep. So yeah. So
Yeah, sorry.
Bellator.
Bellator is the PFL.
Yeah.
So what would be the crack with like UFC and all that? Is that like you like?
So
I can't go too much.
No.
Is
It's
that
all right. That's all right.
Is that something you might want to go to, or are you happy out? Like
I'm in a position now where I think I'm not saying that the door is shutting that.
Right.
But how to explain it? I'm in contract now for another 2 years of PFL, and it was like probably maybe late last year. I was like maybe making the decision. Right, I would have thought I would have seen myself having a longer career with starting in the UFC than where I am now, because this is like the promoting this tournament one shot. It's like it's one shot of a lifetime. You know what I mean? That this won't come around again unless I won it and like they wanted me next year. But this is
if you win it, you might have to defend.
Well,
the title
no defending. It's kind of like you're the 2025 champion,
right?
But with this, it's kind of like you're fighting something. Like there is some lads in this division that like could be top 10 UFC. Like,
Right.
does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
you're fighting some of the best in the world here. Like these lads could go over to the UFC with the best lads and take wins here. Like you're fighting some of the best lads in the world. Like one of them has wins over UFC champions and everything. You know what I mean? So
right.
they're that good. The boy. Whereas maybe I could fight. I could fight me granny in the corner there, and as soon as you have them UFC gloves on, it's UFC.
Yeah.
But as far as because it's a mad one in our sport, because how do you what do you call success? Do you call success being a UFC fighter fighting for 10 grand, or do you call someone successful that's in another promotion but they're making a lot more money?
Yeah. So I suppose it's relevant, is it?
How do you that's I suppose subjective then, to be honest, look, I think I'm in the PFL tournament to put in the perspective. I think if I signed to the UFC tomorrow, I think it'd be more of a bigger deal.
Right.
Because of the way UFC is a household name.
Is the brand.
It's the only sport in the world where the promotion is bigger than the athletes. It's the only
really?
promotion. Think about it. UFC, you know, it doesn't matter who's fighting in the weekend. I'll watch it because it's the UFC.
Yeah, true, yeah.
The only person, there's only one man that's ever become bigger than the UFC, and that's Conor McGregor.
McGregor, yeah.
Think about Floyd Mayweather, bigger than boxing.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali, bigger than boxing.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, bigger than the NFL.
Yeah.
They're all bigger than the sport.
Is that because though it's quite new, UFC?
That's exactly why.
Yeah.
It's exactly why. And as well, it's the way it's modelled in the sense that all the best are fighting there.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
the way,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
whereas, you know, the Oscar De La Hoyas and the Manny Pacquiaos and all that, they were in different promotions under different managements. It was all politics and why did they not fight? Because different promotions, like there could be 10 world champions in you know, in boxing. You know, and they're all legitimate. Yeah. You know, I could win this world championship now in the summer, please God, and I'll be the 2025 PFL world champion.
Right, okay.
And it's a prestigious title.
Yeah.
But for me to say I was number one in the world, I have to win the UFC title.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay,
you know,
so the UFC, right? Okay.
Do you get me?
They're
the Premier League, and they're you know,
okay.
like, I mean, suppose Messi, he'll always have critics who said, he didn't play in the Premier League.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas Ronaldo,
He's done them all.
You know, so that
I know
kind
what you mean. Yeah.
Does
so
that? Like,
so
you
if
know?
you won this, would you go? Like I say, it was an.
If I won it and you know I was out of contract and I could, of course I would. You know what I mean?
Would the two promotions ever
cross? No, because they're on competition.
Ah.
You know, UFC is number one, and PFL is trying to be competing with these lads.
Okay.
You know, so
surely about though between, you know, say, you as the champ and the champ.
Oh, look, you never know. You know, like, I mean,
we'll promote that.
Yeah. Lovely. But it's just, you just don't know. Like, I mean, you can't say. But again, when competition, you know, it's always going to be there. You know what I mean? So again, you never shut the door on it. But again, like that, like, I'd be taking a major pay cut going to UFC. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I'm able to make a living out of this. But whereas, to be honest, if I went to the UFC tomorrow, unless I got big sponsorship, things would change. You know, I'd probably have to start promoting, doing a few privates. You know what I mean? So it's like you're UFC, but you're making, what would it be? Making, you know, 5 times less money.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of a mad one. You know, the way it's hard to explain. You know,
I'm trying to think.
Do you get me? It's very hard to put into.
No, I get what you're saying.
You know, you could be playing for, you know,
say you're going to a top club, but you don't get to play in a way. Like,
you could be playing for Real Madrid and making top dollar, but then you could have the criticism saying, well, you're not playing the best league in the world.
Yeah.
You could be playing for Brighton, but you're in the Premier League.
In the Premier League, I know what you mean.
And you know, so it's hard to give examples, but anyone that does know the sport, like in the sport, would know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But look, to be honest, come back to your original question. Look, I'm absolutely delighted to be a part of this. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I think I'm one of 3 or 4 Irish fighters ever in this tournament. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, I mean, I think the 4, like, there's only ever 4 lads, and it's me, 3 other lads at my gym, and another fella actually. So there's only ever been 4 of us involved in these tournaments. So it's a big, you know, it's a big deal. And
how were you picked on merit as such? Or
yeah, well, you know,
because I remember on Facebook, and there was a thing, and it was like all of us then commenting, and you got about 1 million. There was loads, like that would have certainly helped, because like, it was like, well, that's what people wanted. You know what I mean? And obviously, you know, it's because I was 10-0 in Bellator. Yeah, like there's some lads that fought 10-0, like lorry drivers. Right. You know, if you look at the records, you're still 10-0 and you're still doing whatever. But I was 10-0 with one of the biggest promotions in the world, which was Bellator. I started my pro career, and I fought in, you know, high stake, you know, 10,000 in arenas, and you know, fought underdog. I was the underdog, and I went abroad here and there. You know, so high stake fights, you know, in the big promotion. You know, so whereas some lads might, and there's nothing wrong with that, could have been fighting 200-300 lads, and you know. They could still get to the UFC, but for me, I think that's what stood to me was the 10-0 record in Bellator. Yeah. And then, you know, obviously the support I have and stuff, which I can't, you know, not say to be recognised. Really and you know what, Dottie, to be honest with you, I think that's just Drada. Yeah. I think it could have been anyone, and they get behind them. Yeah. You know, and I just think that's just the town. This town. The support we have, like, we're the biggest town in Ireland, but we're such a you know, tight knit community, and I think it could have been anyone, and they got behind him, because it's just I do think Drogheda, like, the people of Drogheda love a success story. which is weird, right? Because like there's a whole thing that people would say Irish have a begrudgery, right? But I don't think that's the same in Drogheda, really, because Drogheda people do support each other. You know what I mean? A big time. I know it. So with the,
I was just going to say,
look,
look,
as well, and people get behind you and saying, like, I've seen the support that goes up as like it's class.
No,
it is
I'm
class.
like that. It is that, you know, like, I thought he's had to open a coffee shop, and it's like, well, I'm going to support him.
That's what I mean.
I'm not going to go up the cost.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like, hold on. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, it's the best coffee, and then you're like, oh no, it's that, and that. I'm going down for the boys, and it is that in Drogheda.
No, it is. It's
100%, and that could have been anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone from Drogheda. And it's like, no, that's one of the lads
Yeah,
there, you know,
yeah,
and
no,
it's
it
just, it's such a, you know, good community for it, and you know, I would. This is without a shadow of a doubt, I wouldn't be where I am today without the support they got, because
Deadly.
they seen the numbers
what you're gonna bring
they
and
seen
stuff.
the numbers that was going up to the 3 arenas, and like you know, it's not as if I was Conor McGregor and talking and doing what he was doing. I'm like, hold on, who's this young fella here that is 300 plus here and sell, you know, the whole place is erupting when he comes on and wins or whatever, and it's like, hold on, that held weight.
You know,
really did, and that's, I wouldn't be where I am. And even the sponsors locally I got and stuff, and off is all the support, you know, like, and it's brilliant.
No,
it is, and that is that, you know, I mean, I'm fully aware of that. And there's people, you know, Drogheda's not like, you know, it's not Dunleary, you know, people are spending their hard-earned money. You can up there, there's might be guts of €100 for a ticket, taking a day off work, buses, drinks, before you put your hand in your pockets, that's a few pounds.
Going to a wedding.
And it really is. And then people done that consistently for me. Like, it wasn't just once. I was fighting the 3 arena, I fought there 7 times. And it got bigger and bigger, the sport, and people were doing it, and I was like, hold on, Ciaran, imagine like there's pubs showing your fights and this and that, and I was just
I've
like,
watched it at Peggy Moore's and stuff like that, and like showing it, and even the whole town is watching them in the pubs that actually went to the fight, like, and everyone's like, you know,
it's unbelievable, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I think when I look back and think about that'll be like, you know, and it's hard to take it in the moment, but you know, I really just go, and again, that's just the town of Drogheda, you know what I mean?
And I was telling John earlier on about one fight that I was watching, and I think it was like your second and last fight that you did, and I can't remember what your man's name was, but you got an unmerciful boot in the face. Do you remember? And it was like, how is he still standing after that, man? I tell you, you're some man. You just keep going, like, you're a warrior, like.
Yeah.
Like that had to been so, that one.
Look, and I got the first one, which.
Who was that? Was that like
that was the Polish one? That was me third last one. It was me last one. It was actually me last one in the 3 arena.
Yeah.
And
but you were well better, boy. I just remember that, like, wherever he caught you and you went back, the head went back.
Yeah, well, I got that boot.
Yeah.
He dropped me. I got on top or whatever. But then the second round, he actually done it again, but I was a ground opponent, so it was illegal. So so the first time you're expecting it, and you can like. How to explain it? It's like a sucker punch, you know what I mean? I'm standing there, I don't know what's coming. So when I'm in a position, when someone does an illegal move or something, you're not expecting it. So if I put myself in a position, I know, right, he can't knee punch, dude. He couldn't do the move he was doing the second time. So it took me off guard, and it leathered me. Like.
Jesus.
And if you watch it back, I get up and I'm stumbling, and the ref's like, oh, yeah, all right. Like, I could have said to the ref,
you could have called it.
I could have said to the ref, I could have, you know, been bluffing there and said, oh no, I can't see, and I'm out of it. I'd have won. I'd have got me win. I'd have been still under the feed. I would have got me win bonus. And actually, my coach John Cameron laughed at me after, and he said, don't do that again. And I was like, but you know,
keep going.
Don't keep going. Take the win. And I was like, you know what? I couldn't live with myself if I thought I'd done that. Because like, why did I get into this sport? No, it's not. You know, and it's not to be like, oh, you know, it's just.
No, but it's still. Like,
it's just like, I couldn't live with myself thinking that I took that easy way out. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even have took it as a win. You know, the way I would have been like, and I was. It was just like, no, I'm grand, which I was. I'm telling the truth. It would have been a sin, you know what I mean? To lie and you know, and I was like, no, I'm grand, and I knew I had his number, and like that, when I got that flash, I was just like, oh, please, Jesus, give me the strength, and I just I'm able to muster that up because I'm leaning on the faith, you know, and on my faith, and I got the second round submission then, you know what I mean? But just in them moments, and then the crowd erupts and Drogheda goes mad, and there's drinks been flying, you know what I mean?
It goes nuts, man.
So, great times.
And see, like, are you kind of focusing on any particular part of your skill set, you would just say? Because like I would say, like you're a grappler, you're a good wrestler. Would that be your kind of?
Yeah, so I learned kind of the hard way at amateur. You know, it took me like, you know, I think it was a good couple of fights before I actually was like, because you're experimenting a lot, you're trying to find your style at amateur, and I found my style the hard way off losses, and I was like, right, physically, you know, athletically, all your attributes, your reach, your height, you know, what you're good at, I just started to hone in on that.
Okay.
And, you know,
it's like self-assessing.
It was self-assessing. I was like, right, look, I'm not going to go in there and be like McGregor. He's southpaw. He's, you know, throwing spinning back kicks. He's elusive. He's a long reach. You know, I'm not going to be like John Jones, or, you know, physically, you know, there's boundaries.
Okay.
Athletically, you know what I mean? So I was like, right, look, what am I good at? Right. I know in the second or third round I get going, so I knew pro would suit me better.
Okay.
I only start getting going when lads are slowing down,
right,
so I knew I had an engine.
That's a good trait.
Yeah, so you know, which thank God I have that. But you know, so I was like, right, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna build the ceiling and this. But I know then I need to work, you know, explosively. Yeah. I need to be, you know, where I can. I'll never be like that one shot, you know, off the blocks.
Right.
But I know I'll come alive in the later rounds. So I started to hone in on these skills where I knew, right, physically I'm not going to be, you know, this type of fella because I'm not built like that. But I have the engine, say, and I can build on that. Yeah. So I'll work my style around that to be efficient, to bring the lads into the later rounds, and then to suffocate them. They're exhausted. They're exhausted, and you know, the boy. And then I knew it was tough. I knew like I could take a punch.
Clearly.
So you know, I knew it was tough. So I was like, right, I knew that as well. Sometimes it goes against me in the sense that I'm just like, you know, just take that. They got, you know, just right. That
your coach is telling you not.
Been a bit lazy. I'm giving them heart attacks, but you know, so I knew I started, you know, I started to get. I'm not good. I'm not great flexibility. I'm very stiff, but then so I don't kick high.
Okay.
So then, but on the opposite side of that,
you're not giving anything away here.
No. You can look at me. And when you're very stiff, what are you? You're compact. You're strong. You're so like, you know, what would have went with a lot of lads and I'm like, oh, you're like a block, you know. So, but that's because it'd be very, you know, stiff, and you know, so. You know, because you can be too flexible. You can be, you know, really too flexible.
Too loose.
You can be too loose.
You
know, you can be too loose. So, whereas I'd be like more compact and more stiff, you know, but that when my style of grappling is very hard to move me, or it's very hard to, you know, get me off, you know. So again, I was just starting to hone in these skills and like, you know,
what
get
you're good
better,
at,
you know,
I'd have knowing yourself, I suppose, man.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
That's deadly.
You know,
I never really thought about it.
No,
like,
that's it, you know. So, and I decent hands, you know what I mean. So I use my hands to get in close. I've short reach, so I get in close to get to the legs or to grapple. You know, you know, things that I just started to really focus on. Because
you can really see it in your fights, like the lads that you're fighting, man, they'd be bollocks at the end of it. Like, you know, like I'm sure you're tired, but you don't look near as tired, like, you know what I mean?
No, exactly. And I like that, you know, I might have took me a few digs in the first 1 or 2 rounds, but I know, like, they're starting to deplete, and I'm starting to build on that, you know, the boy.
So
and
take
again,
those big fellas, but you know you're going to keep going.
You know, like I don't plan on that, trust me, you know what I mean? But you know, I know now, you know, like right, or like if lads are like, you know, they might get a takedown or something, or anything, like, and I know, right, they're wasting energy here, and I'm saving it in the bank here, and then I can start putting the pressure on, you know what I mean? So just things like that, like I really I learned that at amateur, you know, the boy, and people, because like looking at me amateur, I was 13 wins, 11 losses, and now if you have to look at that record, and if you knew your stuff, you'd say, oh, well, he was fighting the best amateurs in the world, going away abroad and stuff. But when you then they'd say, oh, what was the change going 10-0 pro? But I'd say it was just, you know,
honing in
and what you're good at, you know, and just really, you know, focusing on that, you know, the boy. And look, again,
it sounded like you actually went pro at the exact right time then.
Definitely I did, because you know, and look, it's
the
just
proof is in the numbers, like,
but that as well, you know, and like 24 amateur fights now is very hard to get, because it's the way the sport is. It's gone very. It's not like amateur boxing. It's just like that happen every week. In MMA, because of the nature of sports, it's like the walkouts, you know, those sponsors and the, you know, it's belts in the line and all this. Whereas I kind of was just fighting every so often. I just really tried to keep it, you know, I was fighting in these you know, tournaments abroad and stuff, internationally and stuff. But yeah, like, and as well, look, I have to mention, you know, the coaching I got over the years, you know what I mean? Like, you know, first of all, you made Conor Dillon where I started.
Yeah.
You know, I was there for 4 years, and with John now 10 years this year and stuff. But with Conor had this like insane, you know, work ethic, you know, just hard
Dillon's
work,
a legend,
hard training, you know, and that was instilled in me when I was young. What I lacked in skill, I just had sheer stubbornness.
Dillon be the lad, they'd be carrying the tyres through the fields.
We were doing,
you know what I mean?
We were doing like,
Rocky
you know,
Balboa style, yeah.
we were literally doing the Rocky train, and we were like, you know, we were like, you know, young lads, you were animals, you know what I mean? Like, you know, thinking back, me and my brother be talking about, like, the stuff we were doing, we were, you know, but then what we lacked skillfully then, when we went to John's, then we were like, it took us, you know, years then to start honing on that, and I was just like, you know, sometimes you'd often think those years played its part, because that instilled you know, to work hard, to try to outwork everybody, you know, to be physically as fit as you can, physically tough, physically strong, and you know, just be, you know, is work as hard as you can. And I got that from Conor, because I've been around the best of the best in the sport, like literally, and I've yet to meet a man like Conor Dillon, on like physically, mentality, everything
like that since we were kids, man. Like, you know what I mean?
There you go.
So you always had that, like, you know, and it just there
you go. And then, you know, then when I went to SPG, like John Kavanagh, like, I still think he's one of the best coaches in the world. The way he breaks down things, you know. Look, if I was to go for bodies,
did he fight much, or like John? Because he doesn't look like the kind of.
It's funny because I think like
he just looks very technical. You know what I mean?
Well, John was the first of everything in the country. He was the first professional fighter. He was the first jiu-jitsu black belt.
Wow.
You know, so he was the first man to get UFC champion, someone to the UFC everything. So John was the first of everything. He's the godfather of Irish MMA. You know, so to look at him, like you said, he might be looking.
That was probably a stupid thing to say.
No, you're all right. To look at me, might think he's unassuming and all. And I'd like to, like, I think I'd be the exact same. I'd look unassuming and all that. Yeah. And but like, and that's what I'm so admirable of John. But when you get on the mat with John,
tie you up.
You know, he's a freak. That guillotine, he's a freak. And
but man, you're training with the best of the best then, as well. Like,
just to talk about John there, like, I mean, the stuff he's done for me, like, you know, like, I felt he was giving me and my brother at the time, like, certain privileges, and not like that he's favouring us around, but he really went out of his way to give us like sponsors and like, or like certain trips, funding and stuff, and like opportunities and stuff. And I'm forever grateful for him and for anyone that's ever supported me. But John, like, and I heard a quote before, was like, it's not you that's good, it's the technique. And, you know, that's it. Like, I just, you know, dedicated 15 years and gave me time to John, and he's gave his time to me, and I'm just learned off him, you know, the boy. I've learned everything off the people that has taught me, you know. So it's, you know, it's just, I'm like the PlayStation and John's the controller, you know. I'd like to think that I just do what I'm taught, you know. It's not as if I'm
a good way.
It's not I'm special around. It's just that I just, you know, put the time in. And John was there, and you know, so
what if he probably would have seen that in you as well? Would he have seen something? You know what I mean? Or would you? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's obviously,
I don't know. You'd have
talent as well. Like,
you'd have to
ask him.
You'd have to ask John. I'll put my hand up. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the strongest. I'm not the, you know, I'm not talented, to be honest with you. Like, you know, if you would ask anyone like coming up, my brother would have been the man. He's my younger brother by 2 years, but he was the boy. Like, when the two of us were coming up, he was the. Oh, what about you? He was the boy. Darryl. He was the one to, you know, to watch. He was the, you know, gonna go far. But me, I just like to think, like, you know, I heard it again. It's actually one of John's coaches, my coach is John's. He said a quote, and he said, "It's not who's good, it's who's left." It's not who's good, it's who's left.
Right, okay.
You know, all the lads that might have been talented and good, but maybe didn't put the work in. Stopped.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
I just stuck out.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, honestly, I don't see. Now, one thing I did have, like, I just had this stubbornness about me, and just this kind of maybe it's my ego, and just, I always kept going. No matter if I just had this stubbornness about me. So that was always in me since I was young. Like, just had this, like, you know, never quit mentality, you know what I mean? And that got stronger with having me faith as well, obviously. But yeah, I always had that. But if you'd ask John, I don't think he'd say, "Oh, Ciaran stood out." I just think, I just think,
put the hard work in, man.
And I'm not even like I worked hard, and I just think I just you know, obviously, you know, you don't get anywhere without working hard, but
Yeah.
I just think I just stuck at it, Dotty.
Yeah,
Honestly, I just
deadly.
think I persevered. I was consistent. I just, no matter wins, losses, I stayed at it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
but that's like a massive battle of doing
yeah,
it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you know, definitely. And I don't think I would have stood it to anyone, but I just thought I stuck at it, you know, and I was just blessed to be, you know, the people I came into contact with. Connor, my first coach, John, now me long time coach, forever coach now, and all these people you meet and stuff, and as of late, Dave Roach the last couple of years above in Dublin, and everybody, Paul Bourne, the help he gave me over the years, helping me to use of the gym and giving me opportunities to teach in schools and to be able to coach and all. Listen,
All that kind of comes together, doesn't it? Like,
it does. It's all full circle, and
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for all these people. Like, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be where I am today. And even, I know it's, you know, you asked me on here today, lads, but these things here as well, like being able to given this opportunity to speak in these things, you know what I mean?
Man.
So
Yeah,
I wouldn't, like, you know, and I really appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, for
and I'm
sure.
not, and I'm fully aware of all that, you know what I mean? I know you're taking your time out of here now to listen to me, you know?
Because what I was saying is, like, we know each other, right? But we've never actually talked, you know what I mean? So I was buzzing actually to have a proper conversation and actually know a little bit about you, like, and now it's like, wow, you know what I mean? It is,
no,
it's
of course,
great to have those. There was one thing I wanted to ask you, right? When you were saying about the when you're coming out and stuff like that, right? Is there any like of that that you have to go through, like that showman shit, like, you know what I mean? You know, like that kind of like, or do you just stay away from that? Because you would, don't know the way you see some of them when they be given the big one, but I don't think that's your style. You kind of just, you're like humble in a way, you know what I mean? So
look, it's actually, I was never into all that.
Yeah.
I was never a pushover now. I was never, you know, if you come up to me, if someone gives that to me, I'm gonna match your energy,
Right.
and I'm gonna, you know, it's not gonna bring out the worst in me. But it's like, no, you're not gonna push me over. You know what I mean? I'd be a big believer in that. Like, you don't go look for it, but when it comes, you don't back down. Yeah. But I was one of these that was like, you know, no, I wasn't brash or talking or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I never felt any of that made any difference to me when I won or lost a fight.
Right.
You know, I've often been away with lads. I've literally been in at tournaments where I was in ice baths with lads and they were sitting beside me. I didn't even know they were fighting them the next day. I was getting me medicals done with lads sitting beside me. They might have been raw dogging me and all that, and I'm, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not backing down. I'm looking back and whatever, but I'm not shying away from it. But I'm not getting into this, you know, battle with them. You know what I mean? Because, you know, at the end of the day, the fight's won or lost in there, and the training leading up to it. And now there is a mental game involved here, you know what I mean? And again, like that, that's because of me faith. You know, I'm able to, you know that doesn't, you know, I'm able to lean on that for it. But yeah, no, like, and even at that, like, I'll be honest with you, when I was younger, growing up watching the WWE, like, or the WWF coming into the WWE, like, you know, The Rock, Steve Austin, Undertaker, you know, like, me and my brother actually thought that was real, like, you know, we were like, what you want to be when you're older? And I was like, I'm a wrestler, and I'm like, you know, seeing everything, you know, where I was, and like,
who's your favourite?
Who's my favourite? That's a tough one, but I'd probably say, because me and my brother growing up were so close, we probably would have said Kane and Undertaker, you know what I mean? The Brothers of the Destruction, you know what I mean? Like,
the Hardy Brothers, they were
the Hardy Brothers were great, and you know, but growing, like, and then all those lads growing up, like, watching them, it was class, and, you know, even Eddie Guerrero, and like, it was class, great time.
We used to do battles after school, right? But Dylan used to set them up, and it used to literally, like, we'd be in 6th class and go down to a field and literally just batter the head off each other, like, it was crazy. He used to, but he'd do matchups, and he'd match me, and I was tiny, against the biggest fella, and, like, and he'd just pick me up and throw me, and like, it was crazy. It was great crack.
It's class, you know what I mean? And it was brilliant. Like, we used to be killing each other like at home, you know. Like,
how did you get into it? Like, how did you find out you wanted to fight?
Well, so that, like, that was always, like, it was actually my uncle that bought that game for me, and
the WWF.
Right, I think it was WWF smacked it. I was something, I don't forget the game, but I remember Triple H was in the front of it, maybe Shawn Michaels, I forget who was on it, but he bought us that, and me and my brother, like, you know, he was me dummy, and we'd be killing them, you know what I mean, out rapping, and I too was just battering him. Your mama tell you, just killing each other out in the street. My brother was, I remember once my brother chokeslammed some young fella into the street, like, and Dara was tiny. Choke slammed him, like, you know what I mean? And his mother called at the door, and I was, you know, Dara was hiding under the table, and, you know, just them type of things. And Just like you like that, if you'd asked you, like I just would have come back kind of to tie the two questions in. Now I don't even pick me walkout song. I'm not even all about the whole show of it. I'd rather if there was I'd rather the amateurs, no walkout, no nothing, just in there fight.
What is your walkout song?
I picked now Johnny Cash, God's Gonna Cut You Down.
God's Gonna Cut You Down.
That's a good tune. You've probably heard of it, Johnny Cash, it's a great tune.
God's Gonna Cut You Down. I don't think I heard that.
No, it's a great one. Listen to that.
One,
when you hear it, you're like, I know it, you know.
Like,
but
I know a good bit of Johnny Cash.
I got it off a program called The Kingdom, it's called, and it was actually about an MMA fighter and their stories. It's not even about MMA really. It's kind of about their lives, you know. But anyway, so I'm not really into all that, you know what I mean? I don't even think about that. I'm thinking about the fight. But what got me into it probably was all that, the WWE and stuff, you know, the whole the whole showmanship and stuff. So anyway, going back to how I got into it, it was like, you know, growing up, it was always interested in that, you know, and I was the eldest in my family. Of my brothers and sisters, sorry.
Okay.
So like,
many was in your family?
4 of us at home in my mum's, and then me dad has kids to his wife. Then with my brothers and sisters there. So there's 3 of them. Right. So there's a few of us. Big
family, yeah.
So I was the eldest of all them, even you know. So there's 3 of them. So like, you know, I was the eldest, and my dad wasn't at home. He, you know, obviously had his partner at the time, his wife. So I felt this kind of, you know, like man of the house type, like as a little teenager, and like I'd know all their cousins, known to kind of run to. Everybody kind of had an older cousin or an older brother. Yeah. So when I kicked off in the street around, if you were bet or something, they were going, I'm gonna get my cousins, I'm gonna get my brother. Right. I didn't have that, so I felt this kind of responsibility of like, you know, if Atten kicks off, I have to be. I need to be the top dog, you know. I know that sounds immature, but that was
kids, man. You know what I mean?
That was my mentality, and it was like, if someone's gonna come take something from you, which they're gonna do, you have to be ready. Like, they're gonna do that. You know what I mean? That's the way it was growing up in Drogheda, and like, that's the way it was for me. You know what I mean? Halloween time comes, someone's gonna take your stuff for the bonfire. You need to, you know. So there's always gonna be someone bigger and older, of course. But, you know, but that was, I had this kind of innate feeling, and I was like, I wasn't able to turn to anyone, and. You know, my dad, we didn't live with our dad, and we have a great relationship with our father, but like, you know, and then another thing as well, like when we did go to that, like his, you know, people around the area and stuff, oh yeah, dad and your uncles were hardy men and stuff, no messing with the lads, and you know, they're from here in the town, they grew up in Rathmullen, and you know, that kind of thing. But like, it was all like, you know, but like, I don't know, I might have like been looking for my uncles and my dad's approval by being that person maybe, or like, you know, I didn't want to be looked at as weak, or like even. I know, again, sounds immature and mad, but like that was me mentality. And I know, realise now I've been the man in the house is like, and I always say this in interviews, is like helping out at home with your mother. Cutting the grass for her. Like, because my mother we were spoiled, didn't get us to do that. But like, now I'm thinking, I wish I'd helped out more. You know what I mean?
You made a cut of grass.
No, do you get me? But you know, even like wash the delf or something. You know what I mean? Bitch, making you cut the grass. But so like, you know, even, you know, thinking back, like, you know, that was me mentality. And I know, again, as I said, it sounds mad, but that was it. And so that's what kind of got me into it. I dabbed in a bit of boxing, like every young fella does. Learn how to throw, close your fist and have a go and sparring, and you know, did all that kind of stuff for you know, a couple of months here and there, and really enjoyed that as well. Loved how hard it was, because I played Gaelic and football all my life, and I loved how hard the combat was, you know, and the train of it really hard. And then my mates at the time in school were doing it. They were like, oh yeah, I think you'd be good at the MMA. You're at the start.
What age? About 14,
15. And they were like, oh, I'm at the Warren Clonadillans. And I was like, what's MMA? And one of my mates showed me UFC knockouts, and I was watching it, and it was like Chuck Liddell, and I was like, this is mad, you know what I mean? And then I think it was the grappling that intrigued me. It was like, it was the realness of the grappling and like everything together. It was like the wrestling in my head. I was like, that's like real WWE. It's real, you know what I mean? And so anyway, went out, bit the bullet, went out with my friends, went out to Connors, and the
rest is history.
My mates at the time were telling me they were training months, and they were going to train for a fight, and I went in and I was headlocking them, and I was tapping them out, and I was like, oh, I must be good at this. Went with Connor, he choked me out with a triangle choke, and I was like, okay, right. You know, you know, obviously, I mean, you know, but like, I was like, no, what? And then I was you know, Neville, I was getting me, you know your road out there to drive out, use a road, like it's a mad bendy road, and my mother, like single mother on her own with 4 kids, you know, only young, like, and had the girls at the time were only young kids driving out the road, icy roads. We've often been out, right? There'd be cars in the back.
Yeah.
And my mother would be going out to pick us up on her own and then go home quick. Because, like, you know, the lengths that people went for us, and even lifts we were getting off people, scourging people for lifts, and, you know, to get out the train. And then, like that, then, you know, we had Connor to look up to, and, like, looked out, he was training for his fights, and yous were all going in the buses and supporting him, and we were looking, and, like, all yous supported him so well, and like, you know, looking at Connor, like, we were looking up to him, we were like, oh, like, that's unreal, at the belts he's winning, and, like, looking at the train he was doing. And so
he was on the telly before as well. I remember watching that. I didn't get to go to the fight, but he was. And then I think he kind of got injured, and then it was
it's just, like, you know, looking at all them at that and been a part of that, and all yous were going away, and just all of these things happening and stuff, you know, just then
it's mad how it all leads you up to the point you're at. Now you're fighting in the World
it's
Championship,
mad, you know, Florida, and it's unbelievable.
And are you getting people to go over with you, or what's the story?
Yeah, so my brother does go over, be in the corner anyway, and he'll go over with me for the week.
Will John be there as well?
John will be there for the week. There's actually one of the other lads in my gym, Nathan Kelly. He's in the weight class above me. He's fighting the week before.
Okay.
Because there's different weight classes each week. So he's fighting the week before, so John will be already there. So then Darryl will be just come over for the week and do our last bits of training and stuff, you know. So that type of thing, yeah.
And if you win this, you'd stay. It's all in Florida, is it? It's nowhere else.
So if we win this, please God, then the next one it'll be in another state.
Right.
8 weeks later.
But you're just going to stay in America?
No, I'll come home then. I'll do my training again at home and for the 8 weeks, and then I'll go back over then, you know. So I'd prefer that, to be honest, like that. I'm a creature of habit. I wouldn't want to be a routine, you know. That'd kill me. No. Yeah. So I'd rather be at home and then do my training there for the next one and prepare for that then, you know. So that's really the buzz there then. Yeah. So
I think we're coming to the end of an hour, and yeah, we're all right. But look, man, thanks very much for coming in, and best of luck, man.
Oh no, appreciate it, man. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on as well. You know, that, as I said, give me the opportunity to talk. And
I have a little cup there, right, of questions. They're all little innocent questions.
Deadly.
You can pick one of these out and see what it is. It's probably no relation to MMA.
Deadly. That's even better. That's even better. Deadly.
See what you get out of there. Coffee.
Right. Right. What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever Googled? Right. What's the most ridiculous thing I've ever Googled?
Your name.
Most ridiculous thing is probably. Oh, that's a tough one. Let me see.
Mine most recently was, what is an axolotl?
Axolotl?
It was my younger. It was on about them. Do you know they're real things?
What? Axolotl?
It's an axolotl.
Axolotl. Wait, do you want to answer the question? I'm going to hold the Google that. That's what I'm going to Google. I can't think, but I'm going to Google that.
An axolotl.
I'm going to Google that. And do you know what? I'm going to speak into the phone for that one.
Yeah,
because I don't know how to spell
that. I went
to
go and look at them, and I thought they were only tiny little things, but they're massive. They're about that size, yeah. And I was going up, and he wanted to buy it, like, get one for a pet, and then I looked at it, and you have to get a massive big tank. I was like, I think you'll have to get a hamster pal.
yeah. So, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna Google that when I go home.
Go with that. There you go. But anyway, thanks very much for coming in, man. And hope you enjoyed it, pal.
You're a gent. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Ciaran Clarke, he's fighting in 5 weeks.
5 weeks. 5
weeks. So we'll all be behind him. Thanks very much.
Thanks a million.